We've seen how you can use Q&A to type natural language questions about your data, but there are two other ways that you can enhance the answers that Q&A give to make it easier for your users to understand what they can and can't ask about. So one of them is that when you put your cursor into this ask a question box, you can actually pre-specify some questions to give people an idea of the sort of things they can ask about. So there are some out-of-the-box suggestions that will come up based on the measures and the fields in your model, but you can also go and manually add to this. So for example, if I look in the settings options for a particular data set, you'll see this option for featured Q&A questions. And this allows me to type in the questions that I want to appear on that list. So you can see I've given some examples: total defects in 2013 and total defects and reports and the counter defects by vendor. So I go back to that dashboard. You'll see those are the first two things that appear. All these other ones are based on other things that people asked for, or fields that have been pulled out for the model that as I mentioned. So that's one thing you can use to create these featured questions that make it easier for people to pick up Q&A. The other one is that you can actually change the responses that Q&A gives and say, actually, here's a report page that I've already created that might help answer particular questions. So I've got a supplier quality analysis report here as an example. This gives us a bit of an overview about all of the different suppliers we use, the number of defects they had, the number of downtime, etc., etc. And I can filter this report page based on a particular vendor. If I drag the vendor field onto this page level filter, I have an option at the bottom that says require single selection. And this is one of the things that I need to do to allow me to show this page as results within Q&A. So let me select something by default. The other thing that I can do is on this formatting tab, under page information, I can say, right, turn on Q&A. And this actually sort of prompts Q&A to use this page as a response if people ask particular questions. And the questions that they can ask then are related to the name of this page. So for example, now I could ask for supplier quality report for a particular supplier. I can also add different names if there are other ways that people would refer to this. So maybe this is supplier performance or vendor performance. Those are other things that people might ask for to do with this data. So I'm going to save this again now. And this time when I go back to my report, back to my dashboard, if I start asking about the supplier quality report, I can specify a particular vendor, and now I'll get that same report page here as an answer in Q&A. And it's already been pre-filtered to just that particular vendor, Sol Holdings, that I asked for. And you can see the restatement at the bottom specifying that. So it's showing the supplier quality report where the vendor is Sol Holdings. And I can use those aliases as well. So I also refer to it as the vendor performance for Sol Holdings. And again, it's doing the same thing. So it's interpreting, So it's interpreting vendor performance as an alias for this report, and then filtering it down to the particular vendor. I can choose the different vendor names to sort of compare across these different types and see the data filter down to just the one that I'm interested in. So I can use this in a whole range of different ways. So maybe I'll create these reports that summarize a particular supplier, or maybe I could do like a customer focused dashboard that allows account managers to pull up latest information on that specific customer. There's a whole range of different ways that you might think of to use this. And a really easy way to help people understand and get the best out of their data just using natural language.